And we are live. Welcome back with Murphy Mac to another episode of the Fitness Beginner Podcast, where we help you get started on your fitness journey. What is up, folks? We're back at y'all with another podcast episode for y'all again today. And it's just a solo podcast episode. We're going to talk about pragmatic optimism. Like, what does that even mean? And we're going to get into that today. But first, I just want to say, hope y'all have a great week. Do all the things that you need to do to set yourself up for success and whatever that is you're trying to achieve. Hope y'all have a great week. And y'all keep up the good work. We are today is March 1st when I'm recording this, March 1st. So we are already over 2 months into 2026. So we're moving right along. It's going fast. It's flying by before we know it. It'll be Christmas time again. So I wish I could slow down time a little bit, but I hadn't figured out how to do that yet. So we just going with the flow. But yeah, let's get into the podcast topic today. And I want to talk. So how I came up with today's topic is it's actually about a YouTube video that I watched this week. I watched it I listened to it on the way to work. I like to listen to videos in the truck sometimes. And it's a video from a YouTuber called Matt D'Avella. You may have heard of him before. He's got like 4 million subscribers on YouTube. He's pretty big. And every now and then his videos will pop up on my YouTube and I'll watch them. And this one I thought was a really good video. And I'll leave the link to the video down in the description. So if you want to check out this video after we get done talking about it, go check it out. I highly recommend it. It's a good video and it's a good like a viewpoint on optimism. It's a good video. So go check it out. And that's what inspired today's episode. And it's kind of ironic that I watched this video this week and that we're going to talk about this because the last 2, maybe 3 episodes I talked about being like delusionally optimistic, like being very optimistic about yourself and your goals and just like believing in yourself. And I talked about, visualization and like visualizing yourself, achieving that goal and what it would look like after you put in the work and you achieve that goal. So this video actually kind of has a different viewpoint on that. So it's kind of funny that I saw this video after we had talked about, self-belief and believing in yourself. This is also, believing in yourself, but it has a different viewpoint and it's kind of more realistic for some people. Now, I will say I'm kind of in between. Like, I don't know which one I fully agree with. I've always been, on the optimistic side. I believe in, visualizing things like that. And this kind of does too. It just has a different strategy of going about it. So I believe, so I don't know, I think it's a good strategy and I think it'll work for most people. Most people are different. So I don't just want to give y'all one viewpoint. I want to give y'all all the viewpoints so that way you can see what works with you, what resonates with you better. You may find that you like this viewpoint better and it may help you. I believe in it as well. I think it's a good one. And I think it works for different people. Like different people operate different ways. So I think it's going to be good. So I wanted to talk about it too, just so y'all don't, so you don't think the other ways that I talked about, it may not work for you, but this one may. So yeah, I talked about, just to give y'all a little, a quick glance of what we talked about. I was just talking about, believing in yourself when you set that goal, like visualizing, like if your goal is to lose weight, I talked about visualizing whatever at your goal weight. Like say you want to lose 100 pounds, visualize yourself losing 100 pounds. Or if you want to run a marathon, I talked about visualizing yourself running that marathon, like crossing the finish line at that marathon. And that's good. And that works for people. And I like to do this. I do this a lot. I do this. It works for me, but it may not work for you. So there's also other things you can do. And that's what this Matt D'Avella guy talks about in his video. And he kind of does some research about it. And he's saying like that like all in method didn't work for him. So he preferred it this way. And he talks about kind of pragmatic optimism. We'll talk about what that is throughout the podcast. And he also mentions a researcher, I think she's a German. Sorry, I got some notes written down, so I'm going to refer to the notes so I don't forget her name. There's a lady that developed this. It's a what do you call it? An acronym. It's called WOOP. 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 That's the acronym, and we'll get into it. And that lady's name is Gabriele Oettingen. I can't. Sorry, it's the German last name. I can't pronounce. But I just want to give her credit for this because that's where I'm getting it from. So yeah, so basically he's saying like they call it blind optimism when you just 100% believe in yourself. You're overly optimistic in yourself and that works for some people. The reason he's saying it don't work for a lot of people is this blind, they say blind optimism, because when you think of like the end goal, like that, what you're going to achieve, a lot of people, it don't work for a lot of people because they fail to think about the obstacles that's going to get in their way to achieve said goal. So that makes a lot of sense. Like, yeah, if you want to lose 100 pounds, like, yeah, you're going to visualize yourself 100 pounds lighter. But what he's saying is a lot of times people aren't, or what that lady kind of speaks about is they're not successful when they think about that big goal because they don't think about all the extra steps that go into it, all the work that goes into it. They don't think about the obstacles that's going to come up while you're trying to achieve that goal. So that's why she says that like that way of thinking don't work for a lot of people because it's overly optimistic. It's too much to consume. So when you think about the term pragmatic optimism, it's basically a way of saying that if you're overly optimistic, your goal is going to be too big and it's going to be, too far out there for you to actually achieve. You're too optimistic. But if you're under optimistic, if you're not optimistic enough, then you won't believe in yourself enough to actually like put in the work to do it, and then eventually you're going to quit. So it's like a weird like in between. You know what I'm saying? You got to have both. You got to be a little bit overly optimistic, but you can't be like under optimistic at all because then you just won't try it. You won't give yourself a chance. You won't believe in yourself. So that's what it's kind of like the whole gist of the video. So to get into it, sorry, I done got way out of whack on my spot on my notes. Let's see. Yeah, so basically like not all optimism is good. You can have some kind of toxic positivity if you want to put it that way. You don't want to be just super optimistic where you're thinking, well, if you just think positive, then your weight's going to drop, or pretending like setbacks don't matter, or ignoring real challenges like injury. Like, don't do that. That's just being that's toxic positivity. So what we want to do, actually, let's just jump straight into the WOOP acronym. Sorry, I'm all over the place today. So the WOOP method, I want to talk about this. So what does it stand for? WOOP, it's an acronym. It stands for wish, it stands for outcome, obstacles, and it stands for plan. So that's WOOP. So what is this? So this framework was created by this Gabriele Oettingen lady, and it can be an effective like mental strategy that helps turn your goals into action. So what does WOOP stand for? What does the wish? WISH, it stands for choose a realistic but meaningful goal, like a goal that you actually can achieve. That's not way out there, but it's meaningful. It's actually a little bit challenging. Like you want to challenge yourself a little bit, but like don't say you're going to go work out 7 days a week if you're not working out at all. This could look like something like planning to work out 3 days a week, or building. Say for example, you want to build muscle. Like don't say I'm going to get on a bodybuilding show in a month because it's probably not going to happen. You got to work your way up to that. Or I want to run, a faster mile. You want to run a 5-minute mile, but you ain't running at all. So that's not really realistic. So we got to make this goal realistic. You got to make it achievable. You want it to be actually achievable. The O is outcome. So visualize. This is coming back to like the overly optimistic thing I was talking about. Visualize the best possible result of achieving that goal. So what's the best result? Like what's the best outcome of achieving that goal? And this is kind of where the over optimistic comes into a play. So if you succeed, what will be different? Like what does it look like when you succeed at that goal? What's the outcome? Are you going to have more confidence? You're going to have more energy. You're going to have better health markers. You're going to have pride in yourself. So this step kind of builds that emotional motivation. Your brain is going to connect, the effort with the reward. And that leads us to the next O, which is obstacles. So identify what could really get in your way. So this obstacles is the one that the part that overly optimistic people kind of leave out. They leave out the optimism. They leave out the obstacles. Sorry, I'm stumbling over my words. It's late. I got to get into bed tonight. But yeah, so this is the step that most people skip. This is the one that's missed. So like this is the step right here that's different, from just being overly optimistic, like too optimistic, and then not optimistic enough. Because you're gonna have obstacles. Like, yeah, it's good to think of yourself losing that 100 pounds or crossing that finish line. It's great, but you're skipping this step. You're skipping the obstacle step because with anything that you're trying to achieve, there's going to be obstacles in the way. So that's where this WOOP plan comes into place. So fitness obstacles that you may have is a lack of time, and that's a huge one. A lack of motivation, and you may start off with a lot of motivation, and it's going to die off really quick. You may have cravings for food that you shouldn't be eating. You may have stress, whether that's work related, relationship related, whatever. And then you can have like soreness, like you may be too sore to go to the gym, things like that. So this is kind of where that pragmatic optimism comes into play. You're going to expect, this way you can expect this resistance. You can expect these obstacles instead of just pretending that they don't exist. Because that's where a lot of times picturing the end goal can lead you to overthinking, not overthinking, but like can lead you to not picturing the path to get there. Like when you're overly optimistic, you kind of pretend that obstacles don't exist, but we can't. That's just not realistic. So we got to think about that. So then the P, the last letter, is plan. So create this is big. Create an if-then plan for each obstacle. So whenever something happens, you need to have if and a then. So if I don't feel like working out today, then I'll just do 10 minutes. Like I'll limit myself to 10 minutes. That's all I got to do. I can do anything for 10 minutes. So if I don't feel like working out, I'll do it for 10 minutes. So that's the if then. Or if I'm too busy, then I'll just do a shorter workout. Say I have a busy day today and I had an hour planned to work out. Well, I don't have that much time. I'll just do 30 minutes today. Or I'll just, I'll do one workout today. That's it. Or if I crave junk food, then I'll drink a bottle of water first and then wait 10 minutes. So hopefully that will that will satisfy that craving. That's the if then. So you gotta plan for these obstacles. So think about the obstacles that you will face and whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. Think about those obstacles, whatever that may be, and create an if then plan for that obstacle. So maybe you may have to take your kids to baseball practice or something. I don't know. You may have to take them somewhere that may or may not affect your schedule. Well, create an if-then plan for when that happens. So say something changed and now I have to take my kid to ball practice. Well, that's the if I have to take them to practice, then I will walk around the park to get my steps in while they're practicing. So that way you can still sit there and watch them practice. Because I know because you want to be there with them, watch them, because that's your kid, yeah. But you can sit there and like walk around the field while they're practicing. Like that's an if-then statement. That's just an example. It's going to depend on what your goal is. So whatever it is you're trying to do, think of the obstacles that you're going to have to face, and create an if-then plan for each of those obstacles, and that's going to help you. So that's the WOOP plan. It's it can be beneficial for you. It can work, and I kind of like this because it tries to think of the whole goal and what it's going to take to get there instead of just thinking of the goal. So that's where that's kind of the difference of being overly optimistic and then pragmatic optimism. It's you just think of the end goal with one, and then the other one kind of thinks of what's it actually going to take to get you to that goal. I know it's kind of like, I don't know. They kind of go hand in hand together. They kind of work with each other. Because like to me, in my opinion, I think you kind of need both. Like I think you need to be overly optimistic when it comes to some things. Like you need to believe in yourself and go all in and just say like, screw it. I don't care what happens, when it happens, or how it's going to happen. I know I'm going to do the work to get there, to get to the end, and I'm going to achieve said goal. But then like being pragmatic kind of brings it back into like realism, like reality. To like, okay, yeah, I want to achieve this big goal, but life still happens. I still have to take my kids to practice. I still have stress from work, or I still have, changes in my schedule. I still have to pay my bills. So like they kind of go hand in hand together. So that's why I'm kind of in between. I believe in both. I think you should have both. You should really have that overly optimistic, plan in life. And some people agree, some people don't. You'll see a lot of like motivational people. They're really big on mindset and optimism and things like that. And they say, go all in, do what you got to do, sacrifice everything. And that's good, and that does work for some people, but some people can't sacrifice everything. Some people, that's just not a reality for everybody. So you kind of have to have both sides of everything. And if you are the type of person that operates of going all the way in, like sacrificing everything, eating ramen noodles every week until you achieve whatever it is you're trying to achieve, if that works for you, then yes, that's great. Go for it. Like, I'm not saying don't do that. If it works for you, do it. But that don't always work for everybody. So some people have to go about their goals in different ways. So that's why I like this little WOOP strategy, because it's different from the being, overly optimistic, like delusional optimism into yourself. So there's two different strategies, and they work. And I think you can use both of them. They kind of go hand in hand. And they're honestly kind of similar in a way. They just they go about it different ways, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's WOOP. It stands for wish, outcome, obstacles, and plan. So it just kind of gives you a strategy of setting up your goals to help you become more successful at them. So if your goal is to lose 100 pounds, that's going to be your wish. So your wish, that's your meaningful goal. Yes, it's still kind of hard. Like, that's still a goal that's going to be hard to achieve, but it's realistic. If you have that much weight to lose, obviously, you're not saying your goal could be, I want to run a marathon. Like, that would be a good one too. Like, yeah, a marathon's doable. Like, a lot of people run a marathon. I know for a lot of people it may not seem doable, but it is. Like, it's out there. You're pushing yourself. You're being optimistic in yourself that you're going to do it. But at the same time, it's meaningful. I wouldn't say, if you don't run at all, like, I probably wouldn't say I want to run an ultra marathon, because that may be pushing a little bit. But a marathon could be doable for you. So that could be your wish. And then O is your outcome. So what's the best possible outcome, for achieving that goal? If you succeed, what's going to be different? How are you going to change? What is that going to look like? What's that going to do for your confidence? What's it going to do for your energy? So if you lose a lot of weight, you're going to be more confident. You're going to be more energy. You're going to have more energy. Your health markers are going to be better. So what's that outcome that you're trying to get out of said goal? So like, your goal may be to lose 100 pounds, but why do you want to lose 100 pounds? Or your goal may be to run a marathon, but why do you want to run a marathon? That's kind of the outcome stage of it. And then the next is obstacles. So if you want to lose around 100 pounds, what's the obstacle that's going to get in your way? Well, time. Time's going to be huge. You may not have time to go to the gym today. You may not have time to meal prep your foods this week. You may be not motivated. You may not have slept good, and you're tired, and you don't want to go to the gym and work out. Or you may have some cravings, or somebody's going to bring a cake to work for somebody's birthday, and you're going to be tempted to eat the cake. So these are obstacles that's going to get in your way. If you want to run a marathon, it's a lot of time, a lot of stress on the body, a lot of recovering that you have to do. So what are those obstacles that's going to get in your way? And then plan, the last one is the P. So if you want to lose 100 pounds and somebody brings a cake to work for somebody's birthday, well, you got to have an if-then statement. If they bring a cake to work, I'm only going to allow myself to have half a piece of cake, or no piece of cake, or whatever. If you want to run a marathon, and if you get injured, then what are you going to do? Then you're going to rehab your injury. You're going to take some time off. You're going to come back slower and build it back up, or whatever it is. If you have to take your kids to practice that day, but you have a workout, a run scheduled that day, well, maybe you can run at the park or something like that. I don't know. Whatever that goal is for you, have an if-then statement for it. So that's pretty much what the video is about. It's just a different way of going about your optimism. Like, you don't want to be, he was pretty much just saying in the gist of things, you don't want to be too optimistic to where it's not realistic, and it's so far out there that you just end up giving up because you don't, it's too far, too much to achieve, and you can't really, he goes to say that you can't achieve everything that you push your mind to. And I know what most people are thinking, like, you always hear the quote, you can do whatever you put your mind to. Like, you can do anything that you put your mind to. And yes, it is kind of true in a way, but then again, it's not really true. Because, like, if I put my mind to flying, like, I'm never going to be able to fly, period. So he just keeping it real. Like, he's just being realistic in the video. And that's why I kind of liked how he thought about it. He just had a different perspective on it. He was saying, being overly optimistic it don't work for some people because it's too much of a stretch. Like it's too far out there and it's not realistic. And he just brings it back to reality for most people. And that's what I liked about it, because if we're being honest, like a lot of people don't operate the way that a lot of these motivational people do. And like, I would probably consider myself one of those motivational people. Like, I'm kind of one of those people that I go all in on things. Like, I'm overly optimistic about a lot of things. Like when I decided to run 100 miles, I didn't have a lot of running experience. I really didn't. I never even run a marathon, but I was overly optimistic and I was like, I'm going to do it. Like, I'm going to achieve it. I'm going to do everything I got to do. I'm going to go all in. I'm going to sacrifice my time and go running every day. I'm going to wake up early and get my workouts in. But that's just kind of how I am. That's how I operate. And I've come to realize that that's not going to work for everybody. That's not realistic for everybody. Not everybody operates that way. So that's why I like seeing these other perspectives of other people and what works for them and how they operate. And I think it could be helpful for other people. And so I just want to be as transparent, and I want to help as many people as possible. And I know my philosophy doesn't always work for other people. So that's why I want to kind of give his perspective on the video and what he talked about in the video, because I think it's another good perspective that can help a lot of people. Like, I think he thinks about it in a way that can probably help more people, like the majority of people. So yeah, y'all let me know what y'all thought about the, I keep calling it an acronym, but it is an acronym, but what's the word when you it's a strategy, or I can't think of it, whatever the word is. Y'all know what I'm talking about. He gives you the plan, like the strategy of the WOOP strategy to use, and when it comes to like making your goals and being optimistic. So yeah, that's just two different sides of you. You kind of know how you are and how you function and what motivates you. So you can kind of use them both to your advantage, or use which one works for you to your advantage. And I think that'd be good for a lot of people. But yeah, I think that's about all I got for y'all today. I don't really know what else to hit on. Oh, I highly recommend go watch the video. It's a pretty good video. He explains it a lot better than I can, because he obviously did all the research and stuff on it. It's a pretty good video, and it really sparked my interest, and that's why I had to do a podcast topic about it today. I think it'll work for a lot of you. He just brings a lot of like the motivational speech you see online. He brings it to a reality that would help a lot of people in a different way. So you know how you are, and if it'll work for you or not. But I just recommend go check it out and see if you not correlate. See if you what's the word? See if you, I can't think of the word. Not correlate. If you like the way he presents it. I know that's not what I'm trying to say, but if it resonates with you, that's the word I'm looking for. See if it resonates with you, and it may help you. It may work. And try it out for yourself. Try this WOOP plan on yourself. Think about that goal that you're trying to achieve and break it down. Wish, outcome, obstacles, and plan. And it should help you in achieving that goal. See, that's what I'm going to leave y'all with today. Hope y'all have a great week. Y'all tune in next week for another episode of the Fitness Beginner Podcast. Other than that, y'all have a great day. Peace, love, protein. We out.